viewers and participants from all over the world. This is Greaterworks, as you know. Greaterworks is actually a 13-week series of powered by Cedarville Communications. I'm flying on the weeks on EasyDial. My name is Oyeniyi Faleye, but let me just introduce what Greaterworks is all about. Greaterworks is an engagement platform for Christian influencers, thought leaders, and strategic thinkers who are passionate about shaping culture, technologically, socially, and all spheres of life. And so we've done the 13-week series. We've done like 10. We've done 9. This is the 10th one. Last week we had an engaging session where we actually focused on social media engagement with teenagers, and we had two beautiful people. Binga Sheson was here, and Mrs. Victoria Oluwani. It was such a wonderful learning session. But today we're moving gradually forward. Like Gordon, my friend, comedian, will say, we're moving forward gradually to the permanent side. Today we are coming to a very interesting topic, which is internet service providers, vis-a-vis how they help many churches go online. And so today we're going to have people from MainOne. MainOne, as you know, is one of the most powerful internet service providers in Nigeria. And to have the pleasure this morning of having on Mr. Adedamola Obisesan. By the way, Mr. Obisesan is a graduate of engineering and a certified Cisco engineer, project management, and project management professional. Is passionate about self-empowerment, personal finance, technological advancement, leadership, and conversations around emotional intelligence. Currently the project specialist at MainOne's value-added services product. Adedamola has 7 years complete experience in sales, networking, project management, and product development. Is responsible for ensuring the profitability of the company's SME and also innovating new solutions to ensure SME maximize their resources and position themselves for growth. Mr. Adedamola Obisesan, you're welcome to Greaterworks.
Good morning. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure having you. We're really so excited to have you. We're talking to one of the biggest ISPs. But off the cuff, the topic is very, very clear. Can you just walk us through the process of actually, or let me just also rephrase that a little bit. COVID-19 has opened up a new space completely, wherein churches don't have any other choice but to go online. But I just want you to walk us through, what's the process of actually going online? Because what you're saying is like the men are being separated from boys, those who are prepared, those who are prepared actually just keyed in and they never really lost communication with their members, and those who are not prepared, at least those who are not internet ready at the time, perhaps lost communication and conversation and communication with their members. So I just want us to walk us through, what does it take as an ISP to actually help a church go online? Take us through a step. I want you to talk to us like a layman completely, so that anybody out there is going to, whether those who are joining and those who are joining now, who are joining or who have joined now, or those who are going to listen, who are going to watch the video, can you understand? I want you to just break it down.
Okay. Once again, thanks for having me. As you introduced me, my name is Adedamola Obisesan. To answer your question, the good thing about being behind the curve in terms of going online with your church activities is that it doesn't take a lot to get on board. All you need is I assume that the very first thing that you need to do, the entry level would be to be able to live stream your services, maybe your Sunday services on Sunday and maybe a couple of midweek services. And the good thing is that all you need to do to get online and be able to stream your services is to have an internet provider that you can rely on during those periods. So I'm going to use MainOne as an example because it's the process I'm most comfortable with. So come online on MainOne. All you need to do is reach out to MainOne and find out if where your church is in proximity of where our fiber coverage is. our fiber coverage, our fiber covers most of the business districts in Lagos, which would be Ikeja, Apapa, Surulere, Yaba, Ikoyi, Marina, and Victoria Island. So if you are in any of those, if you're in proximity of any of those places, you can reach out to us, and this is what then happens. We do a site survey to confirm that you are indeed in proximity of our fiber and your location is somewhere that we can connect. Once that is done, we compute the commercials of connection and let you, the customer, have it. Once all of that commercial negotiation is done, we finalize on a bandwidth amount. Bandwidth is basically your subscription. How much internet do you want? How fast an internet connection do you want? From my experience, to be comfortable with your live stream, you need about 10 Mbps of dedicated internet or higher, 10 megabits per second, right? So we conclude on the costs. Once we conclude on that 10 Mbps bandwidth, once you sign up, we do the installation. We plug you in, we run a test to make sure that the latency is low. Latency is how quickly the information you send from your premises gets to our backend. We run a latency test to make sure that that is fine. And we give you a couple of days to test to make sure that everything runs smoothly. Once that is done, we hand off the service to you by giving you all the addressing details that you need to integrate into your network, and you're good to go. The good thing is that you don't even need huge infrastructure costs to get this started, because the delivery model we use ensures that at the very beginning you can run with what we give you immediately. What I mean is, the router we bring to your premises is you can connect the LAN cable to it. You can use wireless, so it enables you to get on board. You can complete this entire process within a week. And because of the reliability and resilience that MainOne is known for, we can guarantee that once you plug into this, your live streams go off without a hitch, and everybody, and at least your congregation, don't have to miss your fellowship on Sundays and maybe also on weekdays.
Thank you very much. That was very elaborate, and I'm very grateful. But for the sake of people who don't really understand what an ISP does, I'm just like going to read out a little bit. An ISP, that's an internet service provider. It's an organization that provides services for accessing, using, or participating in the internet. And so some of the services they do provide include internet access, internet transit, domain name registration, web hosting, and co-location. Now, that said, let me now just begin to deepen the interactive session. Let me just ask a little bit. Some of the areas you mentioned, Apapa, VI, Lekki, we know that those are like, I call them city centers. And there's a tendency that most of the churches that are going to be located there will have they should be doing well. I'm talking of members, because to be honest with you, remember, the location of a church tends to also drive the kind of members that actually go there. But if a church is located at, say, the outskirts of Lagos, Alagbado, Makoko, all those areas, how would they be able to afford MainOne? Because the truth is, what Greaterworks is all about is technology adoption by churches. And we're also, and we're carved what we call technology inclusion. How do you think MainOne can actually bring many of the churches that, quote unquote, are left behind? How can they join the internet, jump on the internet bandwagon?
Okay, so I'll put it like this. All of those places that I mentioned earlier are places that MainOne can deliver fiber to its customers directly. We have other mediums of delivery. there's something called the microwave radio option, right? But to be honest, the microwave radio option is slightly more expensive because it's there's a cost to that radio. There's a cost to keeping a radio in our base station every month, which is why it wasn't my initial, which is why it wasn't mentioned in my initial diagnosis or prognosis. But what I would say is that for people that don't live in the central business districts and still want reliable access to the internet, there are a lot of other ISPs that buy capacity from MainOne that are in all of those places. I'm not permitted to mention their names because I didn't get their permission.
No problem.
Just so that a good number of ISPs that you are very familiar with, I mean, if you do a bit of research, you would find them, buy capacity from MainOne. So you can if you live in an area where MainOne cannot service you via fiber directly, you can find out about one of these other providers and then get on their network. If possible, insist on dedicated bandwidth so that you make sure that what you are getting is not shared with other consumers, because once that happens, it might affect the quality of your live stream. But if you can find out some of the providers, I mean, if you reach out to me directly, I can let you know. I just cannot let you know on this platform because I don't have their permission.
Okay.
Yeah, you can plug into one of the people that buy from us wholesale and then get to the internet that way. It also works. I mean, we have people in remote areas that stream using those other ISPs and they have a decent enough experience.
Okay, fantastic. Well, I'm also going to ask, does MainOne have, whether we like it or not, the church market is actually a big market.
Yes, it is.
And you know, on the jocular note, we believe that a lot of churches, they have money. We believe that people don't have money, and they drive big cars, our pastors are flying jets and all that. But I just want to ask, do you have a special product? Like every market segment, sometimes you have a dedicated product, for maybe SMEs, maybe large corporate, individuals, So is there any product, for design?
Okay. So at the moment, we are currently working on a particular product for churches. The reason why we only still working on it was because prior to now, demand from churches did not justify the need to create a special package for churches. But in the last 3 months, the spike in demand for bandwidth from churches has gone up considerably. Like there's no week we do not get a request from at least 4 or 5 churches to deliver. So we are currently in the process of defining a package for churches that allows them to to come on board our service at a discounted rate. Because we understand that they are not corporations. They don't exactly, they are not for profit. So a way to, and to be honest, if you look at it, averaged over the course of 30 days, a church uses the internet less than the average organization because their peak periods are only on Sundays and maybe a few hours during the week when they might have midweek services.
Yeah.
Yes, so we are defining that, but prior to when that is fully developed, because we need to do a business case and all of that, what we are doing is, if you reach out to us, if you reach out to MainOne, we can find some sort of discount for you to enable you for it to be able to something that you can justify to the church authorities and maybe the board of the church. Because I find that recently I've been hearing a lot of people say that, we have to run this by our management and also the board of the church. So yes, prior to when that solution is fully developed, if you reach out to us, if you're a church, we will find a discount on our commercial package for you to enable you to make it attractive for you to come on board.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you, Damola. I'm also going to ask, I use the internet, and I'm beginning to put myself in the position of a church who is like maybe has a membership, or maybe God calls me into ministry, and I just have a membership strength of about, say, 150, and that's what my grace can carry, and then. I want to go internet. I want to go online, because a whole of my membership is actually millennials. They want to be downloading. They want to download. They want to live stream. They want to emails. Snapchatting and Instagramming. I'm going to ask. Do we have what you call for example, when I use Airtel, there's what you call the binge offer, which is like a 6 gig. There's another one which you could do like 14 days, 750. That's 500, 750 megabyte. Do you have something like that? So that what I'm saying is, it's not going to be like if I'm thinking of small churches now. That's with my head, and so I'm thinking of small churches. Not very big. Maybe just they can take us about 200 people, and the pastor he just likes it that way. It's a family church. They have maybe the families are there. Maybe they're just like about 20 or 25, and they like it that way. Plus their children. By the time you have everybody together, is about 220, and they're satisfied. So my question is, do you have some kind of plan? What I call, I'm not going to use words a la carte, where it's just going to be the way you are, in Yoruba they say shebo shemo, it's not too, that kind of plan. Do you have something like that?
Okay, yes. The good thing is that MainOne has plans. I mean, I'm going to use our commercial. I'm going to use our SME product as an example, and then use our enterprise product also as an example. MainOne has plans to fit almost any kind of business, because if you consider the fact that MainOne has its own submarine cable, right? What that means is that we are able to sell almost an unlimited amount of capacity. But it also means that if we serve offices that have 10 people in it, and it works for them. So what it means is that you can always cut your coat according to your cloth. So if you're a small outfit and the bandwidth you require is not really a lot, you can get one of our smaller packages and even scale up as you grow. So what I mean is, and again, we're not talking about this for live streaming, we're talking about this for church operations, because I find that if you want to live stream, it doesn't matter if you're live streaming to 10 people or if you're live streaming to maybe 200. Maybe somebody in our technical team will watch this one day and say I'm wrong. But in my limited experience, it doesn't matter if you're live streaming to 10 people or if you're live streaming to 200. The amount of bandwidth you need tends to be about the same thing, because it's about the quality of the stream. It's not about how many people are logged into it to watch at the time, right? But for church operations, you can cut your coat according to your cloth. You can start very small. We have very small packages, and then the bigger your church grows, or the bigger you choose to grow, or the more services you want to lay on the internet, the more you can buy. The more you can buy as you deem fit. So it's very scalable. So yes, you're correct in asking if MainOne has an a la carte like product. Yes, we do. You can come in small and then scale up.
Okay. I'm also now going to. I'll stay with you on that a little bit. I'm going to ask. Okay. I'm going to ask them around the cost implication. Now, I mean, look at the example of a small church, and then always, the offering that comes in a month is, I mean, rough and dirty, maybe like 50,000.
Okay.
I'm just hypothetical.
I need to let you know here that I've worked in a small church. I worked as an usher in a small church before.
Fantastic, good, okay.
A couple of years ago, I used to count the offering. It was that. This was 2007, and it was more than.
So I'm saying, can can we once have that kind of church? And the pastor is zealous. He wants his church to be on the internet. He wants to mail. He wants to, he wants to be on, Facebook and all that, so that he can communicate, because to be honest with you, COVID-19 has actually defined a new normal for every one of us. And the church is also an organization. And, the truth of the matter, the people make up the church. And so if their lives are changing, it also means that they're going to force some changes in their church. So what I'm saying is, I understand, yes, you can come down, but I'm also saying that if my offering is so little, so can you just give us like a range?
Okay, so because, as I said, MainOne can sell an almost unlimited amount of bandwidth, right? I will just introduce our entry-level product right now, as I speak to you. Pending when we're going to develop the new plans that we have in the pipeline. Currently, as I speak to you, the entry-level pricing that you can get our product for is 40K a month. 40. Yes, it's 40K a month. Whether or not that will change when we are done developing the new plans we are developing in relation to COVID, I cannot say yet. But right now, entry-level pricing is 40K a month. But the good thing is that when we are done developing our residential products, this is one of the features that we expected to have. I didn't mean residential, I meant church products. I don't know what else to call it. What we want to do is we want a situation where what you get every other day of the week is different from what you get on Sunday. We want to give churches, the plan is, okay, say you are buying X amount of bandwidth, because you're a small outfit and that's what works for you. What we want to do is on Sundays, we want to give you multiple times that bandwidth at no extra cost on Sundays.
Okay.
On Sundays. So, we assume that for Sundays, for churches, Sundays are peak period. Yes, so we want to give them additional bandwidth on Sundays to enable their live stream. And we did something recently. For churches on the network for a 30-day period. For a 30-day period, we give them 100% increased bandwidth at no extra cost on Sundays.
Okay.
Make sure, yes, everybody's live went off without a hitch. So we are alive to the realities of the market, and we are taking steps to make sure that no matter how small you are, no matter how tiny the bandwidth you're buying is, on Sunday you have enough bandwidth to live stream to your audience, because we know that that is your busiest day of the week. Okay.
I'm not going to ask, that's a question, a thought just popped in my mind. And the question is it possible for churches, small churches that are located within the same geographical space? Take, for example, Alakuko or Ijaye, Okay. And you have about, because it's common in Nigeria, you can have about 15 churches in one street. It's possible. So I'm saying, is it possible that these churches come together and leverage the power of synergy and actually come and get a bundle from MainOne? Is it possible?
Okay, with a bit of it's difficult, but it's possible. With a bit of engineering, you could do this. The thing about bandwidth is that the more the bandwidth you buy, the cheaper. It's like any other commodity. The cheaper the price per meg, right?
Okay.
So if they come together, they'll just need to do a bit of engineering to ensure that when they get that bulk capacity from MainOne, there'll be a bit of engineering involved to ensure that it can get to each one of those churches. Because what I mean is, if we do a fiber link to you, for example, right? The fiber link is in one place. So we assume that the fiber link is in church A. Church B to church J, will need to, I mean, there are ways to do it. You can do an aggregation switch. You can use small radios. There are ways to do it. I will not go into the depths of that on this call. But yes, it's possible. Get bulk capacity, then share it among all the smaller locations in such a way that all of them at any point in time can access the full power of that bandwidth. Yes, it's possible.
Let's move a bit. We'll come back to that. But I just want to talk around data security, data privacy security. You know, a while back, maybe I think 3 weeks or thereabout, we had two lawyers, join us on Greaterworks, and what our focus was that the new data protection, regulation by NIDA. So I just want to ask: is there anything from the back end that an ISP can do to further protect, the churches? Because whether we like it or not, they are going on Instagram, they are going on Snapchat, they're going on Facebook, which means a lot of data, is out there. So I'm asking, is there anything that the ISP can do, from behind, at the back end, so that they can nip in the bud whatever harm that may come into the ministry? Is that possible? I'm just asking,
Yes. So unfortunately, my colleague wasn't able to join this call. I had a colleague, Adekunle Anjorin, who is a product specialist. He would have been much better placed to discuss this. But yes, MainOne has a couple of solutions that help to mitigate against this sort of internet that helps to protect your internet infrastructure. They are called our managed security bunch of services. So we currently offer it to the people that buy this solution the most are banks, but I can see why churches will need to also protect their infrastructure against, once you take something online, it becomes in the view of, hackers and fraudsters and phishers, or what are they called? Yes, so yes, MainOne has a couple of solutions. We call them our managed security solutions that help to defend against most of all this kind of cyber attacks that people are susceptible to these days. It's not my field, so I cannot go in depth on it. But yes, MainOne has a couple of solutions to defend against that. Yes.
Okay, let me just expand the conversation a little bit. Now, like I said, COVID-19 has opened a new space completely. And what that means is church is not likely going to run the way it was run, in years past. The truth of the matter, it means that technology will now begin to take a major, part of what churches do. I'm now going to ask, as an internet service provider, what how do you hope to drive this process? Because like I said, we're for technology adoption, technology inclusion, and now our focus is not so much about the been there and done that. I'm talking of the big churches. Who are already doing well, but we're also looking at churches who have not really come on board, and so I'm saying, what practical steps do you really have? Because I read what my research shows that an internet service provider can be a non-profit, it can be community-based, and so I can also be for profit. So, is there any part of your would I say operation that you want to speak to that? What I mean is, let me also put that. CNN has what they call CNN Heroes. And what they do basically is they celebrate heroes, people, ordinary people who probably did extraordinary things. And so and they celebrate them every now and then. So I'm saying, do you have anything like that? Because from all indications, it's like you are passionate about technology inclusion. Despite the fact that you're looking at your fiber is actually, laid around business district. But I think you also have some passion. I'm thinking, do you have any practical solution steps that is in view for actually bringing churches that are not really within your immediate, who are not your primary target audience?
Okay, so yes. So if there's anything I've noticed that there are some things that you do not need to be big to do. Like what I mean is, yes, you are a big church in Lekki, you're a big church in Ikeja, Victoria Island. Yes, you have access to all the money, so you have access to all the infrastructure. But for smaller churches, there are some things that I think that they need to do that they still do not do yet. For example, you notice that a lot of small churches do not have a functional website. Why? What if one day I was talking to a member of your church and he sounds very passionate about what your pastor does, how he preaches, and I want to find out more about it, right? And then I go online. It mentions the name of your church. Then I go online and I can find nothing about your church, nothing at all. He mentions the name to me and I see nothing. No small website, not even a small blog. I mean, you do not need to be a big church to be able to have a website, because I mean, these days you can do a website for as cheap as
even nothing.
I mean,
as nothing. They are free,
to be honest, I'm pretty sure that you can always find. I mean, and it could even be, rather than even look at it as a way to spend, look at the capex involved or the opex involved. In developing a website. It might be as small a function as saying, okay, you know what, we will buy the domain name of our church. So, for example, if your church is Church of Glory, buy your churchofglory.com, and I mean, show it out to your members. Say, okay, who is a developer here that can help us to build out this website? I mean, for somebody, imagine that somebody is a programmer, he's not in the big time yet, so he doesn't have big money to invest in the church. This could be the way of giving back to the church, and that small move that he makes allows the church to go everywhere. All of it, your congregation doesn't just have to be the people in your local area. There's absolutely no reason why somebody, I'm sure you know that some of the bigger churches have people log into them from the United States.
Yes, true.
Why a small church that has for some reason, maybe I like their pastor, it might even be the choir that I like. There's no reason why, if I cannot interact with that church, there's no reason why I cannot follow that church online. But the problem is that our smaller churches do not see that gap yet. So what I mean is, even as small as a professional email address. So what I mean is, for example, I'm the head pastor of
Church of Glory.
And when I want to send emails on behalf of Church of Glory, I send emails from one of the free email solutions. It doesn't give me the credibility that I need to stand as the head pastor of that church. So what I mean, small things like this are things that smaller churches need to do to scale faster and bigger than they currently do. Because if I sent a mail with Adedamola at churchofglory.com, and regardless of who I send it to, they know that, okay, yes, this is the church you represent. And then if you now buttress that with having a website, you know, it just gives you a credibility that sometimes bigger than the small outfit that you run at that moment. And to be honest, that's the easiest way to scale. And this solutions, I mean, the website will not cost you next to nothing. Having a professional email address will cost you next to nothing. But this that counts. These are the things that you cannot be pushed aside even by one of the bigger churches that have bigger infrastructure than you, because a website is a website and a professional email is a professional email. So I mean is that there's churches, more than anything, I feel like smaller churches should be able to leverage your technology more, because they can be more dynamic.
Yeah, true.
They have not grown to the point where they have a huge management and they have a big board of a church board that needs to deliberate on all of their affairs. Some of these smaller churches, their decisions can be made by the pastor. all of a sudden a head pastor somewhere, look at the possibilities. A head pastor somewhere decides to take his church online, both by getting a website for the church and also by getting professional email address for the church itself and maybe the head pastor and a few key staff. All of a sudden, you have a website, you are live streaming. All of a sudden, your audience goes from the 200 that used to sit in the church to 1,000 that log into your live stream every day. Every Sunday, because the pastor is, it sounds like, the Lord is actually speaking to him. And before you know, you've scaled your church and you've spent next to nothing. It's a function of innovation. It's not even a function of cost. It's a function of, and I think that the advantage that smaller churches have is that they can innovate faster. They need the approvals and the red tape that the bigger churches have to go through.
Yeah.
Yes, there are solutions that can allow small churches to become more popular, to expand their reach beyond what they are currently doing.
Yeah, thank you, Damola. It just hit my mind now. I think somebody said in the new world of competition is the big is no longer swallowing the small. It's actually the small actually swallowing the big one. So it's more about strategy and innovation. And you mentioned innovation. I just want to ask also, based on your interactions with churches, and so definitely you will have, what are your thoughts about today's churches? I mean, are they just getting the internet just because they were forced to enter the new normal? Or are they taking, because the truth of the matter is, if the objective and the thought around or behind they are going online is not rooted in, they are seeing the essence, the importance, we can just jump, you cannot just jump on the bandwagon, but the result or the outcome may not be very desirable. Like you mentioned, you said that, hey, smaller churches have an advantage, which is true. They already have an advantage. Many of the big churches, when they're going to, they're going to struggle with, cultural, with a brick wall. Some of them will say they're not ready. Some of them will say it's not time. We can't invest so much money here. So I'm just going to ask, based on your interaction, because I know the churches are your customers, and one of the things in marketing is also you need to understand who your customers are. So what's your general impression of Nigerian churches toward technology adoption?
So to be honest, there's a lot to be done. There's a lot of gaps that can still be filled easily. Because, as I've said, there's absolutely no reason why your church should not be global. So you cannot afford a station on DSTV yet. You cannot afford a station even on GoTV. You cannot afford, let me give you something simple. How about something as simple as streaming on Instagram Live? Streaming on Instagram Live is free. Just imagine all you have, just thinking off the top of my head, imagine that all you have is a choir that it might be a 5-man strong choir, but I know people that go to churches only because of that choir. They say that the most powerful part of the Sunday service is the choir. So just imagine if you know that your choir is really good, and what you do is every time you have, every time you have a service, you let your choir, you do an Instagram Live for your choir when your choir is ministering. If your choir is good enough, the word will spread. Before you know it, people are tuning into your church service, starting because of the choir, and before you know, they're staying for the whole service. These are people that you don't know where they are logging in from, and it doesn't matter because the word of God shouldn't be local. The word of God should be global. So what I see is that there's still a lot of gap. There's still a lot of gap that churches, both big and small, can use technology to fill. For example, I find it strange now that I feel like every church, no matter how remote your location is, you should have a Facebook page. I feel like that should be like, I feel like that is almost as important as the brick and mortar that your church is set up on. Have a Facebook page, maybe have a Twitter handle, have a presence. I mean, even if your website development will take time, and I mean, you've not bought your domain name yet, do the basic. Social media is free. Start from social media. Have an Instagram page for your church. Have where you can broadcast an entire service. You can record a service and broadcast it on YouTube Live. It's free.
True.
I'm not. And these are things that it costs you nothing, but it spreads the gospel about your church. And not only are you doing yourself a favor, you will never know the lost soul who it is your live YouTube channel that will bring him back to the fold.
True.
So yes, there's a lot of gap. I mean, at the very least, everybody should even start with social media. I mean, start with social media first, because that is free. The entry level price is $0. I mean, you can even get somebody from your church to run it. It's a free service. And then once that starts to pick up, then you can start looking into the things I mentioned earlier, like, a customized email address, maybe a website. Yes, but all of those gaps, first plug it with social media. That would be my advice.
Fantastic. But I'm also curious to know, having understood and seen this gap, I'm also thinking, is there any way, are you thinking of collaborating with organizations like platforms like Greaterworks that can, because the truth is this, even the big churches, you look at I'm talking of the very big churches, engagement online is still very low. You still realize that out of a membership strength of about maybe 7,000, 10,000, you still see people who come online at like 700, less than 700. And so there's still a gap somehow, like you mentioned. So I'm asking, is there a question of awareness on the path of, maybe the ISP is not doing enough, maybe because I believe that there's also a very strong perception that people think that a MainOne, for example, may be unreachable. When I say in terms of financial wherewithal, they might be thinking, we can't afford it, so they don't want to go. So I'm saying, is there any word that you also pushing out there to make them see that it is possible, it is doable? We do. I mean, it's not so expensive, because to be honest, when I hear MainOne, it's a MainOne, main and one. These are very true. Main and one combined, main and one. So when you say MainOne, you say the main one. So I'm not my ministry just upcoming. So I'll be looking for the main one. So I'm asking, is there any way you can help smaller churches practically? Reach out to them. Is there any way you can, create their web? Because I realized that I think we had some guys who came around and talked to us about, technology adoption in churches. And what we found out is there's a lot of gap in terms of awareness, not because people think, for example, it's expensive to go online. So what do you say to that? Okay,
so I'm pretty sure that by the time we're done defining our offering for churches, by the time we're done defining our offering for churches, we will definitely be reaching out to church aggregators to let people know that, okay, this is available and this isn't expensive.
Sorry, Damola, sorry, let me just hold that thought, please. What is church aggregators?
They are bodies that have approached us. I will not say their names yet.
No, just explain to us what do you mean by. I think Kole is joining, but I just want to know what is church aggregator. Let us just know so that
Okay, so these are people. I know two people that have approached us to say that yes, we have a church, but we are in sync with a lot of small churches. In the same way that people came to be business aggregators, SME aggregators, where they say, okay, our business model is to find out what we're in touch with a lot of smaller SMEs in the market, right? So you let us know what you have for them, right? You tell us how it works. We will go and pitch it to them. A couple of people have come to approach us and say, you know what? We are in contact with a lot of small churches, not the big ones that you are familiar with. Those ones are not our target market. But they claim that they know they have a network of smaller churches that are not as popular, and they are willing to push whatever product we have for that market into that market. I cannot say their names again without permission, but yes, say that, you know, if you have a solution for churches, I mean, we've not tested their solution yet because, to be honest, even we were a little slow to the church market, if I can put it that way. I mean, I guess the reason why we're accelerating now is because we are seeing a lot of demand. We are getting a lot of requests. Right?
Yeah.
In that regard, our plan is see what they can do. We say, okay, yeah, this is our product. See what you can do with it. And we also use our social media channels to let people know that, yes, we now have an offering for churches. My problem is that there will still be a caveat in that the churches we can deliver to directly will still be the churches on our fiber route. But of course, as I said, anybody can use one of the partners that buy from us to get to the internet without necessarily coming directly to MainOne.
Okay.
Yes, and of course, maybe Greaterworks will also be a platform that I'll have us consider. I mean, I'm pretty sure that you are more in sync with churches than we are directly. So maybe we can use a platform to, you know, to reach these people, let them know that this solution is not as expensive as you think it is. It is very
fantastic. We'll be glad to do that. We'll be glad to do that. Before I bring in Kole, I was just going to ask. There's a question that just also popped in my mind. I'm just going to ask you, if an organization like Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria or Christian Association of Nigeria approaches MainOne, for example, I'm saying, you know, we've seen this happen before, where you have what you call like partnership, they strike what you call the relationship and all that. We've seen that happen over and over. And so I'm just going to ask you, is that possible, where they say on behalf of the churches, we're going to stand, and so that our members, this does not happen. This does not happen now, but I'm just thinking in future. Is it possible for PFN, CAN, or the body that represent the churches in Nigeria come to the table, you know, feel that individually we may not have the wherewithal, but we can come to you as a group and say, MainOne, we want our churches, you know, at least 50% of our churches to be online, blah, 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 blah. Is that possible? Is that something that MainOne can actually do?
Yes, MainOne is always open to collaboration, and I mean, when
collaboration.
When you see a body as reputable as CAN or PFN, I mean, those are not people that you can ignore. Those are very established bodies in the country. Yes, so it would definitely be a conversation that we're willing to have, where we look at, okay, what we have, what they want, how we can bridge the gap, how we can, you know, find the meeting points where their needs, where we can innovate solutions that meet their needs. And I mean, that would even be a good platform because they might even have needs that we are not aware of.
Yeah, true.
I mean, if there's an aggregation like that and we can speak to them and say, okay, yeah, this is what we need, we can go in-house, develop solutions, and come and say, okay, you asked for the solution, here it is, now you can take it to your members. Okay.
I also think that MainOne should actually maybe lead the charge in that. Maybe you can approach PFN yourself.
Well, maybe when we are done developing what we're developing, yes, I mean, it'll be a good platform to take to them and say, yes, here it is. You can now take it to your members.
Okay, let me just talk about Kole. Okay. By the way, we're supposed to have two people there. Kole is a product specialist. MainOne Data Center, where. Okay, sorry about that. It's a product specialist. Okay. Oh, good, Kole. I'm just trying to introduce you so that people will know who you are.
All right.
Imagine co-location and interconnection product. It's a part of a team that runs West Africa's largest data center, servicing large enterprises, content providers, centers, etc., etc. So, Kule, you're welcome to Greaterworks.
Yeah, thank you.
Let me
much.
I'm not going to allow you to settle down. I'm just going to give you a question directly for coming late. So I'm just going to give you a question. I'm going to give you a question.
All right, no problem.
Okay, so can we see your video? Can you just turn on the video? Okay, one, I want to know. I asked Adedamola earlier on about data security. Now, a lot of churches are going online, which is very good and fantastic. But the point is, how do you do that from the back end? How do you ensure that the church is actually protected? For example, I use Avast. At the time I was using Kapasky, and Kapasky was not even protecting me enough, so I switched to Avast. It's a freemium free. So I switched to Avast. And what happened basically is this morning I got like a report telling me about 500,000 plus, attack probably that is Avast actually prevented about 500,000 attack from encroaching to my system. I want to ask, is there anything like that with MainOne so that churches can actually they can also see the reports, they can see it. Okay, Colin. Okay, I think we lost him again.
I think. So the thing is that because he's making this call from home, and he doesn't have MainOne at home. So I know who his service provider is at home, but I won't mention their name. I won't mention their name here. Yeah, so that's the problem.
Okay, that's good. Kule, are you there? Can we hear you? Kule? Oh, okay. I'm not sure it's really here, but let's just continue our conversation. If he joins us, fantastic. But I'd just like to, because we're just at about less than 10 minutes to go. Well, let me just begin to ask. Let's begin to round up. We've got like 5 minutes to go. My producer is saying we have 5 minutes, and so let me just begin to tell you. On a final note, gradually, maybe I'll ask one more question before if Kule comes in. Fine. On a final note, I just wanted to we're passionate about church coming online, because that's the future. And why is that? The next generation is actually millennials. And to be honest with you, with that generation, we lost the future of the church. And that's why I'd like to ask you, can you promise us that you take this back to the management of MainOne, that they will be willing, they will be intentional about bringing local churches. I'm not going to, when I say local churches that are, in Bongon, in Irua, in, Elisha, where you come from. And I'm not sure any church in your area, that's Elisha. I'm not sure any one of them. I'm not sure any one of them is online. I'm not very certain. So I'm just going to ask, are you making that promise to the viewers across the world, who are going to listen to this? And this is going to be like something that MainOne, it becomes like something that we can look up to MainOne. We can actually hold MainOne to, in future.
Okay. Yes. So one of the
yes.
Hope you can still hear me.
I think Kule is trying to talk, but you can finish your thought. I mean, just hold your thought. Kule, are you there? He's not coming, sir. His network is really bad, though.
I wish I could.
This is bad PR for you. It's bad PR for anyone.
Let me again state that Kule is not using MainOne where he is currently.
I'm not saying it, but it's
I'm just reminding your audience. I'm just reminding the audience.
Okay, can just speak to that so that if he comes back, fine.
Okay, so again, a good part of the problem is not that MainOne doesn't want to go everywhere. MainOne wants to be everywhere. We want to be able to. We don't want to be limited by. We don't want to have to turn down requests. And believe me, we turn down a lot of requests on a weekly basis.
Good.
A good part of it is because we cannot there's a lot of regulations involved in going everywhere. So I mean, some of it is dependent on the federal government, some of it is dependent on individual state governments, right? So what I mean is, for example, if you wanted to go to a state and the government of that state says no, you are not welcome. That's about it, really. There's nothing we can do about it, because to expand your network in a state, you need something called right of way.
Yeah, sure.
Yes, if you do not get the right of way, there is nothing you can do about it. There is no higher authority outside the state government. There's no higher authority you can appeal to. If they say no, it's a no. There's nothing you can do about it. Right. So, but I will take that feedback to management, and I mean, even though they are very aware of, I mean, the demand for our services, even outside Lagos, places that we cannot deliver yet. And let me even now state this: there is absolutely no state in Lagos where MainOne as in Lagos, in Nigeria, where MainOne cannot deliver. The only problem is that if we are delivering to you via radio and not fiber, it is substantially more expensive, which is why I'm not going with expansively. Yes, I mean, most likely you will not be able to, it will not make business sense for you to afford it, except you are a for-profit organization that is doing well for yourself. Yes, but we hope that, and we're already seeing some small shifts in the stance of different governments towards right of way. I mean, it seems that people are figured out that if their people are going to work from home, having a state that has no decent internet will mean that your productive workforce cannot do anything from home.
True.
So we're hoping that if that stance continues, then we're hoping that the go ahead we've been waiting for some certain states to build. I mean, we will not go everywhere immediately. Where we want to go, where we've earmarked for, I mean, because I mean, in the end, MainOne is also an organization that has to protect its profitability. So for states where we're already earmarked to go, we're just waiting for the green light from the government. If one of those governments become more open-minded to giving us right of way, you'll see us building there very soon. So it will take some time because fiber expansion takes time. But over time, we are hoping that in the next 6 months, 1 year, you would hear more stories about MainOne expanding to other territories. And, you know, people, then you can have smaller churches come on board the internet for minimal fees.
Thank you very much. Do you have anybody who wants to have any question? I'm just any of the participants who want any question, can you? I want to have, do you have any question? Any question at all? If you have any question, can I see you raise your hand if you have any question for Damola? Well, I can't see any hand. I can't see any hand yet. I can't see any question. I can.
So no, there is one.
Where?
John.
Okay, John. Okay. So can no, it's not John.
It's John.
Okay, Joanne, please can you ask your question?
Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Damola, for your presentation. I'm actually curious about the radio. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Hear you.
Okay, I'm actually curious about the radio. For the radio, can you give an idea? It might not just be the exact amount, but can you just give like an estimation of what it will cost to own a radio license?
What do you mean by own a radio license, sir?
As far
For a church.
For a church, exactly. For a church to own a, yeah.
Not
Okay.
radio. Do you understand?
Okay, no, I'm not quite sure. I don't understand. Why would you own your own radio license?
Okay, okay. That might not be the right question then. As per streaming via radio is
okay. So you are saying that what will it cost to come on board the internet using microwave radio instead of
Fiber.
yes,
fiber, right?
Yes, please. Thanks.
So there's there's a margin on top of. So let me put it this way: because of the radio costs, because of the cost of mounting that radio at the base station and keeping it there. Because see the difference. If I lay fiber to you, I've laid it. That's it. There's no maintenance cost for fiber. It's there, it's there. If it goes bad, we'll come and fix it. But the problem with radio is that radio needs to be secured in a base station. It needs to be powered. It needs to have some form of cooling. It needs to be, so that cost every month amounts to maybe an additional 100K a month that we do not even make any profit of. That is just the cost of keeping that second radio at the base station every month. So what I mean is that imagine you are buying a 50K service, right? But you need to pay an additional 100K per month for maintaining that radio at the base station. You see that the cost element is not exactly, it can be a bit unpalatable. So yes, just know that if you're comparing a fiber cost, the cost of our bandwidth via fiber and the cost of our bandwidth via microwave radio, for similar bandwidth instances, there's an additional 100K for the microwave. So if the cost of that bandwidth via fiber is 10 naira, the cost of that via microwave will be 100K plus 10 naira. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Do you have any other question? Can I think Vincent Itoya, can you please ask your question? Vincent Itoya, can you ask your question, please?
All right, thank you. So, all right, so I want to confirm, I think the moderator was about asking Mr. Adekunle the other time as regards to security. Can you walk us through how can the church, or from you as a provider, how can you ensure maximum security of church data? People are coming in and so that they won't be hacked, their IP will not be hacked and things like that. Is there a way, is there any measure the ISP can put in place to ensure church security in aspect of streaming and pushing, church being online? That's my question. Thank you.
Kule, did you understand? Did you understand that? Kule?
Go on again.
Okay.
Yeah, Kule?
Oh, yes, I do. On data security,
data security.
Data security. I'd say each person is responsible for data security per se. I would say we have a product when it comes to connectivity. We call that we call it DDoS product. That's distributed denial service. So what it does is like cleans traffic, and also whenever probably external bodies try to slow down your network, try to do something on your network, yes, it's what that does is it mitigates that if whatever action they want to take. But in terms of security, everyone is responsible. Every device, just the same way you would use a device, your computer, you're responsible for putting an antivirus on it. You're responsible for putting other security measures on it. So if you have a PC and you do not do that.
Okay. Damola?
I'm here, sir.
The point is, I think, okay, Kule is back again. I think he's back again. Kule, can you keep on, can you speak on? We have just about, we are actually run out of time, but because probably—
Yes, the connectivity provider connects. The responsibility lies on the end user, I would say.
Okay.
So I think what he's trying to
responsible.
say, okay. I think what he's trying to say is that even though we have, like for example, we have a managed digital security solution, which is managed distributed denial of service solution. What he's saying is that, I mean, even though we have it, if you want to use it to secure your data, you have to get it from us. That's what he says. It's ultimately your prerogative. Like we have some solutions, but they don't come for free. So if you want to secure your data that way, I mean, the way that banks do have to protect their sensitive information, it's available for sale. Like it's on the market. We have it if you want it. Same way, if you wanted capacity to protect your system, you will need to buy capacity from capacity or Avast from Avast or nothing from nothing. Yes. Okay. So I think that's what he meant.
Okay. Thank you very much. It's been wonderful speaking to you, Adedamola Obisesan. It's a wonderful time. It's been enlightening. It's been a learning session. Fantastic. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much for having me.
Let me just round off, by put like a summary of what we've done. Number one is that MainOne is ready to help churches deepen connection with their audience online. It's also ready to partner with organizations such as PFN, CAN, to do that. And also, for many churches who wonder about cost, the entry-level product is about 40,000 naira. That's for the bandwidth, which is not very, very expensive. And finally, the churches also should do what you call, that's the barest minimum. Get a website, go on the internet, go to have a social media. That's like the minimum, requirement of actually connecting with your audience online. So once again, we're so grateful to you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing your knowledge with us on Greaterworks. We look forward to having another time. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Thank you very much. Have a beautiful weekend.
You too, sir. Bye-bye.
And so for our viewers from all over the world, you can visit our YouTube channel. You can watch it live, and we can watch it thereafter. Thank you so much. We look forward to seeing you next week.